Namaste and welcome to another episode of the Influence Academy with myself, Anusha, made possible by Best Money, Extra Tech and 3B's Education and Migration. One of the basic functions of human body, breathing, not only fuels our body with oxygen, it can also clear a foggy mind and strengthen the muscles. Yet, few people learn how to breathe in a way that allows the body to function the way it should. In today's episode, we'll be highlighting the importance of healthy breathing. Today, I'm accompanied by an internationally accredited breathing practitioner who endorses the holistic approach on healthy living. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Diana Marshall. How are you, Diana?
Thank you, good, thank you.
How are you these days?
Yeah, I'm good, I'm pretty good, especially around the corona situation. It's quite challenging, but yeah, it's been very good.
What motivated you to pursue your career as a breathing practitioner?
Yeah, so I started probably about 15 years ago teaching diaphragmatic breathing for actors and singers. And that was, I wasn't really thinking much about that. It wasn't my profession, it was just a hobby. And from then, I didn't really look into breathing as something holistic. I was just thinking, okay, I've been taught to teach those people how to breathe correctly for voice control and for stress management, like stage fright and things like that. Mm-hmm. And then probably a few years back, I went to my dentist for general checkup, mm-hmm. and the clenching problems I used to have. And then he was starting talking about holistic approach to breathing, that this is not only diaphragmatic breathing, mm-hmm. but on top of that, you can actually influence your jaw development and and so many things. So yeah, that's how I started. I started investigating the breathing further, mm-hmm. and that led me to Buteyko breathing modality, and mm-hmm. that was absolutely eye-opening for me.
Okay, I'm going to start you with the basic questions. We inhale through our nose and our mouth as well. So what is the difference between air going through our nose and our mouth? I mean, why is it important that we breathe through our nose?
Yeah, so many people been told to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth for the breathing practices. Although if we do that, this is dysfunctional way of breathing. So we're meant to breathe through the nose, in and out, on inhale and exhale, and we're meant to use our diaphragm. And if you breathe out through the mouth, you will congest your nose up to 200% more than breathing normally through your nose. So if someone already struggles with hay fever or blocked nose or sinus problems, that will already will be a big problem if they congest the nose just because they're breathing incorrectly. Mm-hmm. Also, with nasal breathing, you sterilize incoming air. Mm-hmm. So especially now with the flu season and other viruses around, mm-hmm. you would like the air to be filtered and sterilized. Mm-hmm. It also warms incoming air, so it's better to absorb by your lungs, mm-hmm. and then the gas exchange happens way better than with mouth breathing. Mm-hmm. If you breathe through the mouth, you fill up only 1/3 of your lungs, so it's inefficient. Also, with mouth breathing, you breathe faster. You tend to breathe faster. Mm-hmm. So with that, if you breathe fast and deep, too fast and too deep, you tend to go into hyperventilation mode, and that is a big problem for oxygenation of our body and cells. Mm-hmm. So normally you should breathe around 4 to 6 liters per minute at rest, mm-hmm. and people tend to breathe twice as much. Okay. So this is a problem because that will change the blood pH, and that will, your body won't be in balance anymore, and that when you start experiencing more health problems. Yeah.
Okay. Usually normal people would never know this concept at all, who doesn't have any symptoms of illness. The concept that you say hyperventilation, what difference does it make to a normal well-functioning human body?
Yes, so the well-functioning human body will, and someone with correct breathing, functional breathing, mm-hmm. they will breathe through the nose in and out, they will use the diaphragm, and they wouldn't struggle with most of the health issues. Mm-hmm. But if the breathing is dysfunctional, so mouth breathing, chest breathing, fast breathing, or irregular breathing, that will influence the health and they will struggle with brain fog, memory problems, problems with sleep. Asthma will be much more not so much manageable, and hay fever symptoms and so on. So this is huge.
Diana, I read this interesting article where it concluded that modern humans have deformed jaws.
Yeah.
So humans are only mammals that have crooked teeth, apparently. So if we talk about humans 500 years ago, they had perfect teeth with wide jaws. So crooked teeth are a modern problem caused primarily by eating soft foods, living in confined spaces with allergens, and poor postures, including mouth breathing.
Yes.
So obviously we cannot undo skull deformation. But what can we do to breathe properly? I mean, we can do something about it. So what are your views on that?
Yes, so that's correct. So when we change our diet, so we don't eat as much as crunchy food. It's all mushed when we're children. We don't develop those muscles, and the jaw doesn't develop properly. Also, eating processed food, that will influence that, and also breastfeeding. So in modern world, there is less breastfeeding, and that also will influence how the jaw develops. So with bottle feeding, the tongue and the jaw doesn't work, doesn't have a workout as much, as it should, and that also influences the way how the jaw develops. And the high temperatures around the house, that's also the problematic part. And crooked teeth are not the only problem, because from the breathing perspective, the airways get compromised. So if the teeth are crooked, the airways are smaller, and that will cause lots of problems. So I myself, I'm currently wearing braces, and this is not just because to straighten my teeth, but as a child I was breathing through my mouth, and that influenced my jaw growth. So like I said at the beginning, I went to the dentist to fix my, clenching and things like that. And this is all, it is linked to, breathing through my mouth when I was a child, and the way how my jaw and face developed is not healthy. You might not see it, unless you do the measurements, but it is a problematic. So my airways are compromised, and that's why I would want to go, like I'm going through the treatment to make sure my airways are staying back open. So what we can do from the early age, even age of 2, we can start teaching our kids how to breathe correctly. So correct the mouth breathing. If they start breathing through the mouth, ask them to close the mouth. I have little boy, and we do the breathing retraining very slowly, but just appropriately to the age. And I say, mouth is for eating and talking and drinking, and nose is for breathing and smelling. So then it gets into his brain, okay, I have to close my mouth. Also, I tell him you will run faster, which is true. You will run faster if you breathe through the nose. So he's like, okay, motivated to close his mouth when he's running, or close his mouth when he's watching TV or on the phone, or things like that, because then most people, adults and kids, they tend to open the mouth.
Obviously we are evolving, and our future generation really need the perspective of a healthy nasal breathing. So what you said literally cleared an idea, obviously, to our viewers and to our future generation, that nasal breathing is the most important aspect of function of human body.
That's right. Because also when we're born, we are born with nasal breathing. We only breathe through the nose, in and out, and we're using our diaphragm, unless there is some genetic predisposition or problems. But then, we eat processed food, and we other problems like high temperatures around the house, or just eating mushy food, like you said, and that's that's influencing the breathing. And if this is not corrected, then there is a big problem.
There are numerous cases of sleep apnea, and people have difficulty with their chronic snoring problems. And how can nasal breathing help with airway collapsibility in patients with obstructive sleep apnea?
So this is a big topic because I mostly work with people with snoring and sleep apnea and other sleep disorder breathing. And with the breathing, it's not only diaphragmatic breathing and it's not only mechanics of breathing, but also how we can use biochemical part of breathing. So when we breathe through the nose, we inhale, there is nitric oxide. It's a gas which pulls from the nasal cavity, from the paranasal sinuses to nasal cavity. And if we breathe nice and slowly through the nose, we inhale that nitric oxide. So that will open up our airways, that will open up our blood vessels and help gas exchange. So this is huge. And with sleep apnea and snoring, if we're able to implement this type of breathing, the healthy functional breathing, we're able to influence our airways. So airways gets more rigid during sleep, when we start breathing functionally. So with people with sleep apnea, we have special trainings, and we use that functional breathing to help them to open up the airways and use there's less collapsibility of the airways, and definitely reduce snoring, which is a big problem. If you inhale nice and slowly, you will be able to pick up more nitric oxide, and that will carry to your lungs. And with mouth breathing, you're unable to pick up that nasal nitric oxide, and also the air is colder and it's not filtered, and that will affect your airways. So your airways will become inflamed and so on. So that's not a good thing. So yes, quiet, gentle nasal breathing.
Quiet, gentle nasal breathing. Okay. What is the concept regarding shallow breathing and deep breathing?
Yeah, so if you breathe shallow, it's usually to the chest. Yeah, so mouth breathers will breathe shallow. So if you or your viewers would like to place your chin closer to the chest and inhale through the mouth, like this, what is moving, chest or diaphragm? It's usually chest. Quite often there is a big chest movement. So mouth breathing is linked to chest breathing, and nasal breathing is linked to diaphragmatic breathing.
Breathing, and I recall you said in your previous interviews that breathing through your noses help reduce mental stress and anxiety. So how can we work that breathing mechanism so that we can sleep better, that will ultimately help us improving our focus and energy?
Yeah, so if your breathing is functional during the day, you will carry that on to the night. So your night will be better, you will get quality sleep. So many people get that disrupted sleep, fragmental sleep, they're snoring, and that they're unable to get to that deep sleep. If they restore the breathing during the day, they will get better sleep. So that will influence the day, the next day they will wake up refreshed, they will be more focused, the memory will be better. Yeah, when we breathe better during the day, that will carry on to the night, and you will get that better sleep. And also with the anxiety, you mentioned the anxiety. So if we're able to control our breath, we're able to control our emotions as well. So if we're in a stressful situation, if we're able to change our breathing pattern from fast, shallow, which is chest breathing, to nice, deep diaphragmatic breathing, then we're able to influence our emotions, and that will carry on to the handling the situation better, the stressful situation.
Okay. What tips can you give to the individual who is suffering from mental stress? How can he or she overcome it through breathing?
It's a physiology. So if you start breathing slower and gentler and deeper, deep breathing means breathing through the diaphragm, you will change your blood pH, and also you will change the way how you oxygenate your body. So many people think if they breathe a lot of air to the lungs, it means that there is more oxygen in the cells. This is actually incorrect. So when you breathe fast and shallow and you hyperventilate, the oxygenation of your cells can't take place. Or it's not as efficient as it should be. So there is hemoglobin and oxygen, and if you breathe fast and shallow, they bind more. It means that the oxygen is unable to leave to your cells, to your organs, to oxygenate it. So only slow and gentle breathing through the nose, ideally, you will be able to disassociate that oxygen, and that oxygen will travel to your cells and organs, to your brain, and that will calm your nerves and improve your health.
So do you have any experiences dealing with any of your patients regarding the similar aspects of how the nasal breathing will help reduce anxiety, and do you have any experiences on how it helped your patients?
Yeah, so many actually patients struggle with anxiety on top of sleep problems and things like that. So often I get people with insomnia. So when you're unable to sleep, fall asleep, or unable to stay asleep for a long time, and they often anxious to fall asleep because they're afraid that, okay, would I get enough sleep? Would I get 2 hours or 5 hours, or what? How the night is going to look like. So they're already stressed. So we're able to use the calming techniques, which will put them in a state of relaxation, rest and digest mode, and then they will be able to fall asleep faster, and also calm the nerves. Yeah. So we use the slow breathing techniques. Yeah.
Okay. And like you mentioned earlier, many of your patients suffer with insomnia, which leads to deteriorated health condition, both physical and mental, obviously. So how can an individual help themselves so that they can sleep better?
First, the breathing has to be restored, the nasal breathing and the functional breathing. And also, there's few things around sleep, sleep hygiene, which we can implement to get better sleep. So one of that is to stop using a phone or smart TV during.
That's the basic thing.
Yes, just before sleep. So ideally 2 hours, and also switching to a blue light filter. That will also help to get your more rested, like to get your brain not so active, and also to have complete darkness in your room. So we need at least 4 hours of complete darkness for your brain to be more rested. So ideally the blackout curtains, or double curtains if you can. And also the bedroom should be airy. So if you can open your window, or you can air that bedroom before sleep, that will be great. There are a few things we can start implementing before the bedtime, for your brain to be less active and to get that rest. And the breathing is a big part. So you can do the slow breathing, lying in bed, and just that will transition you to the sleep. We also use something which is called micropore tape. So some people might not be great to use that because of the high anxiety or panic attacks. So we have to work to get them to the state they can actually use it. Or some people might have compromised airways, so then they have to be assessed. But we use the micropore tape when we tape the mouth shut. It's a gentle tape you can get from the pharmacy. Okay. And you place it, just before your.
Sorry, what is it called?
It's a micropore tape.
Micropore tape.
Yes. So it's a small paper tape you tape your mouth shut, and that will stop your mouth breathing at night. Okay. Because mouth breathing will cause that sleep fragmentation. So if you start snoring, or if you're mouth breathing, you're unable to get that deep sleep. Sleep is fragmented and you're unable to get rest. So if we're able to restore your nasal breathing at night, that's when we're using the micropore tape to get people used to nasal breathing at night.
So, and you conduct seminars in Sydney as well. So what sort of things are included in your seminars?
Yeah, so I often talk about hyperventilation because that's a big deal. Like I said at the beginning, most people breathe twice as much of the amount of air we should, and too fast, too deeply. And we talk about the benefits of nasal breathing and dysfunctional breathing and problems with mouth breathing, and how that affects your craniofacial development, and how it influence your sleep apnea and snoring and other sleep breathing disorders. But recently, also last week, actually, I was presenting at the Laughter and Wellbeing conference. So with laughter yoga, there is lots of yogic breathing. So I was presenting on correct breathing and functional breathing using with laughter yoga. So that was quite interesting, to be talking about, because it's breathing is in every aspect of our life. So if it's some different modality or just in general day-to-day life, we always have to breathe. So might as well breathe correctly.
How can we practice that nasal breathing properly in their lives?
Yeah, so in any age we can restore nasal breathing, and our brain is able to pick up different, because nasal mouth breathing is habitual. So if we start, telling our brain, okay, this is not how we breathe, and we start retraining our breathing to nasal breathing, we will restore nasal breathing. Also, nose, if it's not used, it won't work as, it loses some of the function. So if we keep breathing through our mouth, we're not helping ourselves. And, breathing is so important in so many aspects. So, for example, with sports, I work with sports people. We're able to get them, run faster, recover better, just because they're changing breathing patterns. And you see so many people running with their mouth open, and they're losing so much energy. With mouth breathing. So mouth breathing not only dehydrates you more, it's 42% greater water loss when you're breathing out through the mouth than through the nose, but also you're losing energy, because when we're breathing through the nose, you humidify incoming air and warm it. So your body already uses energy for that breathing to get that nice cleaner air to your lungs. And if you're breathing out through the nose, you decongest your nose a little, and also you're preserving some of the energy. So your next inhale will consume less energy. Therefore, you will, many people waste energy on breathing. So especially with sports people, that's a big deal. Especially also if they want to recover faster or have less injuries, they will have to correct their breathing.
So what are the beginning steps that we can take? Obviously, we know that we need to start practicing nasal breathing. We do it, but we wouldn't know where do we start. What are the basic steps that we have to take?
You can observe your breathing. So first you can put one hand on your chest, one on the stomach, and you can see where your breath is coming to. So is it your chest expanding, or is it your stomach expanding? And that will give you indication, okay, how do I breathe? Chest, which is shallow, or deep, which is diaphragm. So then you can start working on using the diaphragmatic breathing more. So it's not only the belly should poke in and out, but also the whole lower part of the rib cage should expand. Yeah. So if you start establishing that mechanics of breathing, that's a first step. Then you look when you're breathing through the mouth. Is it on daily basis, or is it when reading something, or listening to someone, or watching TV, or if you're chewing with your mouth open, and that you will start correcting yourself. So you will remind yourself, okay, I have to close my mouth when I'm reading, listening, or not talking, and then that way you will able to find out where and when the dysfunctional breathing patterns are happening, and start correcting that. You
mentioned about the tape that we could use at night so that we could enhance our nasal breathing. Is that tape similar with all the age, or is it specific to kids, or is it specific to adults? Are there any specific tapes that we can use?
So we also have, so I mentioned micropore tape for adults, for adults without obstructions and without panic attacks, but we also have a special tape called myotape, which is tape which goes around the mouth, so they're able to open the mouth. So this one is designed for kids, mostly for kids, from age of 4. So when they have to, and they want to open the mouth, they can. It just creates the pressure around the mouth. So it's a reminder to keep the mouth open. And also with people with panic attacks, with adults, we use that tape as well.
Thank you so much for providing such clear insights on importance of nose breathing, and we take it for granted, and that as is the most vital activity that has direct correlation with immunity and state of mind. So we're at the end of the episode, and to wrap up, are there any things that you want to convey to our viewers that you've missed?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to share all my knowledge with everyone. So we want to establish nasal breathing. So start watching yourself how you breathe. If you open your mouth, or if you, and when, and how often it happens during the day. Also find out if you're breathing through the chest or through the diaphragm. And remember, breathing should be quiet, gentle, soft, through the nose, using our diaphragm, and quite regular.
Thank you so much for accepting our invitation. If any viewers would like to contact you, our viewers would go to breathing-rehabilitation.com.
Yes.
And also would view your Facebook and LinkedIn pages as well.
Yes, correct.
So
thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we really wish
My pleasure.
Our entire team would really wish you very successful endeavors.
Thank you so much.
I hope you learned some vital information regarding breathing that we take for granted. So please breathe through your nose and not with your mouth. On that note, I'm Anusha signing off from this episode. Stay safe, take care, and thank you for watching Everest TV.